Welcome back to the Splash Talks podcast. I'm your host, Sammie, and I'm here with my co-host, Cody. It's just another episode. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the tough season, the valley season, basically hard times. And with a tough season, a hard time, a valley season, what does that actually look like?
Man, looks like a lot of things. It looks like your world is crumbling. It looks like you don't know what to grab to hang on to. Stress, a lot of stress in that season, a lot of uncertainty in that season. What do you feel like it looks like? What does it look like for you, kind of?
Honestly, for me, like the toughest seasons of my life have been financial hardships. That means either getting laid off or your job drops you down to only 2 days a week. You are making less than your bills, health problems, new health problems, stuff you're trying to figure out, losing a lot of friends. That's losing a lot of friends. Things shifting around where nothing looks the same, where everything looks different. There's not anything that's solid. Everything in your life seems to be shaky, like you're on a rocking boat. It's like nothing is solid. Everything's being shaken up. The whole world that you're in is being shaken up.
It's like almost getting out of a comfort zone, almost, right? It's really shaking you outside of your comfort zone, which is what? Very uncomfortable.
It's scary because when you enter a tough season like that, your first thought is, oh, why is it like this? Like, oh, just everything needs to settle. Like you're just trying to get control. All you want is control. You just want things to stop. You want the boat to stop shaking. But that's not what happens in a tough season. In a tough season, that's the new norm.
Well, and it's funny because as humans and as men especially, we like to be in control of our lives and our surroundings and what's going on, right? But in all reality, we're never really in control. We might think we are, but we know who's in control, and that's God, right?
We're going through these tough seasons. We hit a point where we don't like it. And so when we don't like it, we resort to our defense mechanisms where we fall into our old habits or, our little crutches. What was a little crutch for you, like when you were going through some wild seasons of your life where everything was going crazy and life was trash?
I would say not really a little crutch, but a big crutch was, alcohol. Alcohol was a huge thing in my life that controlled me, for a long time. And it was the only way, happy, sad, with money, without money. It was the only thing I really knew to ever use.
What was a week like that? What was it like? Was it you getting the 6-pack? Like, what was it like?
I was always a 40 drinker. Yeah, it was always getting 40s, and then depending if I had to work or whatever, But it was funny because alcohol always came number one, regardless of what great job I had, regardless of what great stuff was going on. Like that always consumed me. So it was, a lot of missed opportunities because of drinking. Because after I get rolling, it's like I don't even care. Like I'll worry about that. And I was never one to go into work the next day if I've been drinking because I just would, do too much. You know what I mean?
So you were one of those people that called out. Like you're like, I went too hard.
I was probably the guy that you hated. Yeah. Oh man, you called out again. So I got to pick up this slack, bro. What the heck?
Like no shame. Basically, the priority was alcohol and getting
drunk, getting loaded. Like when my pops got sick, man. I feel like that's when my drinking really turned up because I didn't even know how to navigate through that. My dad was sick for 9 years, until the Lord took him home. But I didn't even register what was going on for the first year because I was just too busy trying to fill myself with stuff to not feel anything. I would say it was more like a thing for men not to show emotion and be strong and be tough, and men don't cry. Not that I was taught that, but that was kind of the thing that was shown for men is, don't show emotion. You're weak if you cry. You're weak if you show emotion. And that's not true, man. That's the most unhealthy thing you could do is just stuff everything down and try to deal with it eternally when we're supposed to talk. We're supposed to have brothers that we could call on to talk things out and say how you're feeling, and people to lean on. We're not meant to do life alone, right?
We're not meant to do life alone. And during those seasons, like the more mature that we get, we realize during those tough seasons, there's some people that fall away and disappear, and you're like, oh, they're not a real one, right? But there's other people on the flip side who you never thought during a tough season in your life that you would be cool with them, but they end up being your rock.
Yeah.
Like, we've been through seasons, right? We've been through seasons where we were talking every single day. Every single day we were on FaceTime like, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe what just happened, bro.
Today?
You wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe. I'd call you right after something happened, and I'd be like, oh, bro, something good happened, and then right after that, bam, something crazy.
Yeah, and it was like, I remember like there was a time when you just be catching some momentum, and then boom, something big would happen. It's like, what the heck is going on? And like, it was funny because we would try to see the positive, what was happening, but we're like, dog, there is no positive. I'm just pissed off. Like, I'm finally getting my momentum, and then boom, this happens, or boom, that happened.
We have those days where it's like, there has to be some type of balance. It's like, you don't want to be someone who complains. Like, there's a story in the Bible about the children of Israel and how they complained when they were going through the 40 years of the wilderness, right? And that's like one of the big stories. Like, we laugh at them. We're like, oh, why did you complain? You didn't believe in God. But it's like, bro, we go through that every day where we complain about every little thing.
Yeah.
Every little thing, right? But there's sometimes where you need to vent. You need to get that stuff off your chest. Yeah. You just have to get it off your chest. Because if you bottle that stuff up, you're going to turn to some bad stuff. Yeah. For me, during these tough seasons, I think when I would enter the tough season, I would try to skate through and just turn to my vices and think that it's just going to go away. But one thing I realized, like, that God will do, like, when you're going through a tough season, is he'll let you tire yourself out. He'll be like, all right, cool. Turn to that thing. And then time goes by. Yeah, time goes by and like nothing changes, and you're like, I just want it to end. I just want it to end. And then you bow down and you humble yourself, and you're like, all right. You come to him and you're like, all right, man, can you help me? Yeah. And then it's like when you come down to that point of being humble, then all of a sudden the breakthrough happens, because it's like these tough seasons. We have bad attitudes during these tough seasons a lot of times. Yeah. Like, you can speak to that. Like, you can speak to having, like, what attitude you have during one of these tough valley seasons.
Bro, specifically, like, man, I was unemployed for like 7 months, dog. 7 months, and I've always had a slick resume. I've always been a smooth talker. Not a bamboozler, but like, just able to interview well and all that. And it was just crazy to me, bro. Like, I was applying and applying. I mean, I applied literally to like anything and everything because I was just getting tired of not getting any action. And it was so frustrating. I was like, I felt like that 40 years in the wilderness. Like, when is that going to happen? When? What? Like, what are you trying to teach me? Like, that Joyce Meyer I sent you, bro, was so fire, because she was like, the day I heard that, I sent it right to you, right? And it was literally, where's your heart in the waiting? Are you seeking God? Are you being thankful for what you do have? Are you building something? So, or are you digging holes for when it does rain so you got room to save water, right? For when the rain does come and the blessings do come down. Like, what are you doing to prep yourself for that when that does happen? And man, in that season, it taught me just to really, one, have faith.
Yep.
Two, like, really be thankful and genuinely, like, from your heart, be thankful for what you do have, because there's someone out there that has way less, that has a better attitude than you. You know what I mean? Someone that has nothing pretty much, and you're over here, like, you got a bed to sleep in, you got food, you got clothes on your back. Yeah, that season taught me a lot, because it was just like, okay, God, I'm ready. But it's like, like I was telling you earlier, man, when God wants something to happen, you and nothing can stop what his plan is for you. It's going to happen.
No. And I remember when you were going through that season, you had some times where you were applying for jobs and people were just like brushing you off. Like you'd be like, "Oh, hey man, I got an interview today," and I'll be like, "All right, bro, come kill it." And then you hit me back like, "Oh, they push it tomorrow." And I'm like, "Okay, tomorrow will come." They push it to the next day. Like
it was
literally,
so frustrating. Yeah, because it was just like I would like, all right, cool. I'm gonna get this interview. I'm gonna crush, and then I'm gonna have, I'm gonna have a good job, or I'm gonna have something to bring me good income. And it was just pushed off and pushed off. And after a little bit of time, man, I would just start laughing at it. I was just like, all right, God, it's not time. It's not time. All right. Like, I'm not even going to waste my energy over getting angry over it anymore. Like, when it's supposed to happen, it will.
Yeah, in tough seasons like that, sometimes it's about timing. Sometimes God will be like, all right, it's not time for you to get that breakthrough. I need to do something in you. In these tough seasons, what's happening is we're being transformed. We're being taken 100%. Like a caterpillar and we're turning into a butterfly. Like we don't like it because it's uncomfortable, but we don't get the breakthrough unless we become the butterfly. If we want to stall out during these trials, we don't get to become the butterfly. There's a lesson that we're supposed to learn in the season that is tough, right? We have 100%. To learn that in that season because there's a timing for it. So God will not let you have certain things because you're not ready. You're just not ready. So all the opportunities that popped up probably earlier in your process, they weren't for you. And you were supposed to wait. That's why the door was shut so hard on those opportunities. And then you think about all the trying that you were doing during these seasons, right? You were trying and asking like, when am I going to get that breakthrough? When am I going to get that breakthrough?
Yeah.
And then what happens is you become at peace inside of the tough season where you're like, you kind of just accept it. You're like, all right, well, this part of life is hard.
Yeah.
But not even accepting the job. I'm talking like you look at the way the season looks and you're like, all right, well, I just got to hustle. Like, all right, this is how it looks now. I'm going to just use what I have. Yeah. And when you become content in your season, like the bad season, that's when the breakthrough comes. Bro. Then he's like, all right, cool. I transformed you. You have peace and joy within that season. And then the breakthrough comes. When you go through a season like that, what does it feel like to be on the other side of breakthrough?
It's honestly undescribable, bro, because when you're in that valley and nothing is growing right at all, it seems like nothing's ever going to happen. Nothing's ever going to come through. This is it. This is your life. And that's
doesn't it seem like it's never going to end? Like, this is the way it's stuck.
It seems like forever. It's stuck. And ever. Yes, 100%, bro. And it's so annoying and frustrating. And you got anger and you're just not in a good mood. Any little thing pisses you off, bro. It's freaking ridiculous. And it's funny because it's really just like our inner kid coming out, almost like having a tantrum because we're not getting our way, right?
That's exactly what it is.
And
life is exactly like, cracking the whip and we're like, we don't like this. Like, this feels like punishment.
Yeah. Ow,
yeah, that hurts.
Ow.
We act like little kids. That's really what happens. Yeah. We're adults that act like little kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, man, but when that breakthrough happened, bro, it's literally like undescribable because it's like you want to cry almost because you're just like, dang. And it's so much better than what you had in your own mind. It's so much more than what you had. You know what I mean?
Is.
Like it's always so much better than what you could have even painted yourself or what you thought was right.
Yeah, I've been through that. I've been through that where at the end of the season, it was like everything that I asked for, I got. I'll never forget it. It was a season before I moved to LA where I
remember that
I was
season.
out with my family. We were out in the sticks. I was with my family. I was with my parents.
Not where you want to be.
I was out in the sticks and there was nothing to do. And I was like, man, when am I going to get a job in LA? Like, when am I going to get to LA? Like, Northern California is over for me. I don't want to be up there. I don't belong up there. And I remember every day for 3 months walking around this hick town, not gonna shoot shots at this town that much, but it wasn't for me. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't my cup of tea. So out in the sticks, and every day I was just miserable. I was just absolutely miserable, and I just wanted my change to come. And I remember my mom said something like this. She said, "You have to appreciate where you're at until your breakthrough comes." And I hate when my mom is positive sometimes during seasons where it's not going good. Like, I'm like, stop. Like, I don't want to be positive right now. Like, I want to just pout and complain.
My mom is the same way, bro, and it bugs the heck out of me, dog. It's so frustrating because I'm like, it's back to that like inner child in us where it's like, well, just let me throw my tantrum.
Leave me alone.
And I don't, leave me alone. I don't want to be positive right now. I don't see the but it's just our moms being women of faith and knowing that like better's coming. Just like be content, be appreciative for what you got.
Being appreciative for what we got. Literally. And so she said that, and like about a month later, it kind of hit. And then I was like, all right, well, this is what life looks like. So let me enjoy it for what it is. Let me actually be present. And like I started like hanging out with my dad. We started having a lot of fun playing basketball together. And like as soon as I started to enjoy the season, I got the job. And then I moved to LA. Within 2 weeks, it was already like an afterthought. And I was like, man, that tough season, like what happened to me in that season? Something was built inside of me. The trials built a new version of myself. And then I came out on the other side in the new city I wanted to be in, living the life that I wanted to live on the other side of that. So we always, one of those things we have to remember is a season is just a season. We think that this thing is going to last forever and forever. And it doesn't last forever. It's just a season. Like you currently have a lot of experience being on the other side of that. What would you tell yourself if you could tell yourself during that trash season something? Like, what would you have told that guy who went 7 months with, having to do labor that he didn't want to do versus the guy who's now living in, the abundance that he was hoping for? What do you tell that guy?
I would tell that guy, be content with what you got and be happy in everything you do. Rejoice in it, because the hard seasons don't last. Neither do the good, right? Not saying that everything's always negative, but it's all the season changes in life. But just really be content and happy and just enjoy the ride, because this is life. This is life, and you'll never be in this moment again. So just don't look at like the external of what's going on. Look at all the great that's happening, and I'm surrounded by good friends. I got a great lady in my life, great just people that I surround myself with, bro. And just really work hard and do everything, with your best intent when you do something, and just know that good time is coming, because it does come, regardless of how hard it is or how tough it is at that time to see your silver lining or whatever you want to call it, just enjoy the ride. Sit back and enjoy the ride. What would you tell Sammie that was in the season of living at his parents' house, hated the town, did not want to be there? It felt like you were never going to get out of there. And then look where you are now. Look what you're doing. You're using your creative self. Look at that, bro. Like, just look at that from then and there. But what would you tell Sammie that was in that situation?
I would tell Sam, focus on what you have, not what you don't have. You have to separate where you want to be from where you are. Yeah, you want to get past this point of being in this trash hick town, but you're here. What can you build while you're here? Can you read? Can you learn something? Can you learn a new skill? Can you build something? Can you connect with some people? You have the internet. You can set some things up. What can you do to improve yourself while you wait for your change to come? And honestly, I think I could have been more appreciative of the people around me. I really could have, invested in certain relationships that were around me. I got to spend some great time with my parents. That's something that I wouldn't take that back. Yes, it was a very painful season, but I would tell myself, hey, you're around family. Like, you're going to remember these times. Why don't you laugh with your parents?
For the rest of your
with
life.
them, like joke with them instead of being like, I don't want to be here. Be like, because when you know, life happens, you're going to want to wish that you had those seasons. You're going to wish that you could touch those again. Slow down. This is not forever. This is a temporary season, right? And get every amount of growth that you can out of it, because the switch up and the breakthrough is going to switch everything up like day and night, like all in the like a snap, like a Thanos snap. Boom. Breakthrough is going to happen, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that season was so short. I remember that season, like, oh my gosh, yeah, that was such a long time ago. That's how I look at it now. And I look at it and I go, when these tough seasons come, God's building something inside of me that wasn't there before. There's a certain growth that we never saw before. There's a certain version of myself that never existed before. I may enter the season not knowing what he's going to work inside of me, but I will exit knowing what he built inside of me. So it's only for my good. James chapter 1 says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you go through trials of many kinds. They're saying you should be happy, because what it's going to work in you is perseverance, and what it's going to work beyond the perseverance is character. And that's exactly what happens. We go through some whack stuff, some trash stuff, and then our character improves. That's what happens.
Yeah. And that's really just God building us up for the level up, right? You know what I mean? For the next level up, for us to be where we're going, and being on our path of purpose. You know what I mean? I can't wait for the podcast, when we release that. You know, what does that look like? What did that look like for us? What was going on? God putting you in the path of purpose of what you're made and designed to do. Because we all have a destination, and everybody's different, obviously, you know, but God's got a reason for everything.
Now, I say, for anybody out there who's going through a tough season, work on your attitude.
That's what I would tell too. Sorry to leave that out. An attitude of gratitude, bro. Like, if you can every day start with an attitude of gratitude, regardless of what's happening, good or bad in your life, you're going to be a lot happier, and things are going to be a lot better and easier for you with having that attitude of gratitude, because you're grateful and you're thankful and you see what you do have. Of course, we all want more. We all want, to better ourselves. We want to better our lives, our families' lives, all that, of course. But at the end of the day, there's so much to be thankful for. Waking up, having vision, being able to walk, being able to talk, hearing. I mean, just stuff that we take for granted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I started a gratitude challenge with my mother and my sister earlier this year. And you piggybacking off of
how'd that go?
You talking about gratitude, we started doing 3 things we're thankful for every night. And I'm telling you, at the beginning of this challenge, I couldn't think of 3 things. There was days, I'm not gonna lie, there was days I was like, I have nothing. I remember the day I got into a car accident, I was like, I got nothing. I sorry guys, I have nothing. But
I got nothing.
We started with that, and then we moved on to like one picture today of something that makes me happy. Something that makes me happy, and then one thing that we're thankful for. And I'm telling you, when I started this challenge, my sister, she noticed the difference. She said, I have never seen you this consistently happy for this long. She's like, what has happened? And I was like, honestly, it's because you decided to have us start this gratitude challenge. Ever since we started this gratitude challenge, I stopped being a pessimist and started being an optimist, because I started noticing there's actually good in my day. And I've been thinking only about the negative stuff. And, you know, during these tough seasons, that's one of those things. Is like, there's so much more negative that you actually have to take the effort to find the positive. And for anyone out there who is going through a tough season, I would say start with gratitude, be present in this season, and this season is not going to last forever. So embrace it as you can, because when you get the breakthrough, sometimes you'll wish that you could go back in that season and get what you didn't get out of it. Now that you've moved on, like, oh, I would have done this in that season. I would have done that in the season if I knew. Because, it's really just preparation. Sometimes you're being prepared for a job where it's like, oh, you started, shooting video or something, and you like shot maybe 4 videos during that tough season. And then all of a sudden you get the job and you're like, oh, if I knew I had all this time to be working on this before getting this job, I would have spent more time learning this in that season. But you never know what you're being prepared for until the end. So embrace life, live deep, and plant your feet, because tough seasons, they're really for our own good.
They don't last. Yeah, they are. It's test and a testimony. That's what it is. I just want to thank you all for being on our podcast, man. The way we grow is through you guys, and we appreciate every single one of you that tunes in. We're excited to be here. We're excited to share more content on things that people aren't really touching on, and we just love you guys, and we appreciate you guys so much to tuning in. And stay tuned for more episodes coming out soon. We appreciate you guys.
See you on the next one. Splash.